Okay, guys, welcome to next module, Introduction to Azure. Okay, let's go. What is Azure? Microsoft is the provider, cloud provider. So Azure is Microsoft's cloud computing platform. Azure is a continually expanding set of cloud services that help your organization meet your current and future business challenges. So here in this module, as we discussed, we're gonna see all services offered by Azure. And also here it says Azure gives you the freedom to build, manage, and deploy applications on a massive global network using your favorite tools and frameworks. So we have different frameworks or web services and databases and storage system. And also it's a massive global network, because Azure has 56 regions all over the world: North America, South America, Europe, Africa, Asia, Australia. Okay, let's go. These are all Azure services. When you see security and management, Azure offers a lot of security and management services. Security Center, Azure Portal, Azure Active Directory, Azure B2C, blah, 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 multi-factor. Because as I said, you don't have to worry about it. When we create an account in Azure Portal, so we will cover all these topics one by one, okay? And then media and CDN. CDN means content delivery network. So what content delivery network? It will just, if users is frequently accessing same set of answer set, what this CDN does, it will store in a cache and then retrieve, because it doesn't have to go back to database and then retrieve, because this user is frequently accessing that same result. So that's why we have option CDN. And application platform, where you can host your web applications. Okay, and compute services, containers, Azure batches, virtual scale set. Remember, I explained you guys scale set. You can always add the servers. You can remove the servers based on the demand. That's we call scaling, auto scale. Okay, because there are two types. There are two types of scale up and scale up. Horizontal scaling and vertical scaling. Okay, vertical scale means, like, let me give you guys example. You have a laptop and you see this a laptop is running very slow, and you want to speed up that process, and you have 4 GB RAM. What are you gonna do? If you want a quick performance, then you will update 8 GB RAM. That means a vertical scaling. Okay? And horizontal scaling. So if you have only 256 gigabyte, and then you want to store like 300 GB files in the laptop, because you don't have it, you have only 256, and you still need 44 GB. Then you can add the storage, right? That means horizontal scaling, because when you are adding that CPU, that means vertical scaling. When you're adding the physical storage, that calls horizontal scale. Okay, so these are all. And then data, Azure offers a lot of databases: SQL database, SQL Server, and then Cosmos DB, that's the document type database, and Azure Cache for Redis, stable storage. Okay, and then analytics, and then business intelligence. Okay, and all these networking, load balancer, DNS. A load balancer means I distribute the traffic based on the demand, so that only one server don't take all the traffic, and distribute all the servers so that users don't see any latency issues. And DNS means, if you have any website, let's call, like, some contours, any website, let's take Microsoft.com. They have that address DNS, and then it converts into IP address. The DNS means it's phone book of internet, because it converts that Microsoft.com into IP address. Okay, that is a DNS. And express route, where you want a secure connection and direct connections from your cloud to your on-premises, your organization. So you don't want to attack by any internet. That's a dedicated service. That's called express route. Traffic manager, where what traffic manager does, right? Let's say you have users all over the world, and Azure has data centers all over the world. Okay, so and traffic manager, what it does, right? You have a user in Asia. Let's say you have a user in India, and he's trying to access your web application, and then he has to reach you have a web application in US. But what traffic manager does, right? It will make that user, like, user request to go to the closest data center. Because if you have a replica, right, if you keep your copy in Asia, because user request doesn't have to travel to USA, right, to access the data. What traffic manager, it routes to the closest data center. Okay, so there are a lot of things. So here it's a virtual missions in the compute option right here. If you see it, virtual mission means that's a physical server where you host your application or database servers, and then containers where you can deploy all together, and then storage. Azure offers storage, blob storage, where you can store your video files, music files. It's a big file, so you can store it in blob. And queues is another storage type where it sends the messages. And then files, documents, you can keep unlimited documents. And the disk, there are SSD and HHD. Okay, a premium, standard, and then premium disk. Okay, so we will go through each of these service when we create resources in Azure portal. Okay, so if you guys have any questions, you can ping in the chat. So here the compute service name, Azure Virtual Machine, as a physical server, where you can create a Windows virtual machines or Linux virtual machines hosted on Azure. Virtual machine scale set, I said you can always add instances or remove instances based on demand. Kubernetes service is a container, and a service fabric is distributed system platform, Azure Batch. So you can parallel and high performance computing application. Okay, Azure Functions, so it's a serverless compute. So it executes the background task. Okay, it will automatically pick up the code, so you don't have to deploy anything. Azure Functions, there are two types, like logic apps, but we will go over these. Okay, let's move to next one, networking. Azure Virtual Network. So virtual network connects to virtual machines to incoming virtual private network connection. The virtual network means, right, when you create a virtual machines, that's a physical servers, and then you have to secure them, right? So let's say, like, there are people all over the world who wants to access your data, your organization data, for the spam people, all people, they want to access your services, like the customer information. But by creating virtual network, you can secure these virtual machines. Okay, so there are different types. So inside the virtual network, there is a subnet, and then NIC. So you can secure your virtual machines by subnet level. So subnet level means, so all together, if you have 3 virtual machines, so you can apply a subnet level. So where you can say only HTTPS request, only they have access. So if you are accessing from internet, if you're putting like HTTPS, then you can only access those virtual machines. So through SSH, you cannot access, because in the subnet, you set the rule as only HTTPS request can access these virtual machines. Okay, NIC level means it applies a individual virtual machine. So IP level, so each virtual machine has a IP address, right? So NIC means you can apply to each virtual machine. Subnet is all together, and then NIC level is only one virtual machine. Okay, you can apply at each virtual machine level. So when you build a virtual network, and then I try to access the request these virtual machines, that 3 virtual machines, and then one of the virtual machine denied, and then I can still access 2 virtual machines. So again, virtual machine means a physical server. I'm trying to access 3 servers from HTTPS, but I can access only 2, and then I'm not able to access one virtual machine, because they applied at NIC level, network interface level. That means, because at subnet level they said all HTTPS requests can access all virtual machines inside the virtual network, but what NIC level says, it blocked one virtual machine. It accepts only a certain type, maybe some other. You can apply more. Okay, when we build a virtual network, you can understand more. Okay, load balancer, it balances application gateway, that, like, increasing the application security when you are connecting from on-premises to cloud. VPN gateway, DNS, I just explained you. Content delivery network, I just explained you guys. So TDOS protection, it protects from the internet spam, people who wants to access the attacks. If someone tries to access your application, like, continuous, then, it gives report, DDoS protection. Traffic manager, I said, it distributes network traffic across Azure regions worldwide. Express route, it's a dedicated connection. And firewall is our website. And okay, so this is networking. And then storage, Azure offer 4 storage services. One is Azure Blob Storage, Azure File Storage, Azure Queue Storage, Azure Table Storage. Azure Blob Storage, as I said, you can store a lot of files. Any video or music files, they are big, right? You can store, and then file shares you can access, like just like a file server, you can store any documents, any files. And also queue storage, a data store queuing, delivering message. It sends and then receives the message between the applications. And then table storage, the unstructured data. So there is unstructured data independent of any schema. Okay, you can. Okay, I think someone pinged me, so they have a question. 1 second, let me pause that. So databases. So Azure offers a lot of databases. Azure Cosmos database, where you can store your data in a document style, JSON format style, and then Azure SQL database. You guys familiar with this SQL database? And also, if you want to use any third-party databases, right, other than here, let's say if you want to use a Terra database, then you can go to marketplace, and where you can buy this Terra database, and then you can install it, and then you can use Terra database as a data warehouse. But the problem, right, when you using third-party software, right, then you have to pay. You have to pay to Teradata for the storage and for the license, and you have to pay to Azure because you have to use that Teradata on cloud service, and also you have to pay how much space you consume. So these are all the charges. You can still use it, but here if you use only the databases provided by Azure, and you can save more, you can save a lot of money. So if you use SQL data warehouse, if you migrate all your Teradata to SQL data warehouse, and there are documents available, using database migration service tool. So here, so the Azure database migration service migrates your databases to the cloud with no application code changes. Okay, so yeah, this tool helps you to migrate all your data to cloud. Okay, I think I have a question. Okay, okay, so if we buy a Teradata, so would it be a IaaS, infrastructure as a service? Right, that's exactly right, because you own the server and you have to take care of all the underlying hardware, you have to take care of the maintenance, everything. That's right. Okay, let's go to next one, web Azure app service, where you can host your web applications. Okay, so Internet of Things, so full managed global IoT SaaS solution that make easy connect a lot of things on the IoT. So we will go over this, and then big data. So this is Azure SQL Data Warehouse. If you have big data, so you can use this. You can store massive data. Okay, and the Azure HD inside Azure Data Bricks. Okay, so artificial intelligence, Azure machine learning, because you have Azure machine learning studio. Where in Azure Machine Learning Studio, right, where you can use a drag and drop visual workplace. You can build and test and deploy machine learning solutions. So you have a tool available, Azure Machine Learning Studio. You can download it. You can just drag and drop. Okay, you don't have to build anything. Just drag and drop. Okay. So I have a question. Okay. Drag and drop where. So if you download this Azure Machine Learning Studio tool, so you will see a lot of options where you can just drag it. Like, you know, when we install that tool, right, I will show you guys how to use this Azure Machine Learning Studio. Okay, so for now we have to go to next one. Azure portal, we have to create account, and then let's start building a virtual machine. Okay, and then let's DevOps. You know, you guys know the DevOps, right, where you can build and test and then process to production. So if you guys using any JIRA applications, DevOps, you know, right, there are five in DevOps. We will go over, so where you can create a task and where you can raise a bug, and then where you can once your development is done, you can move it to test or UAT, and you can move into SVL. So you can move all your code from development to testing our next environment, and then they're gonna test it and then make sure that code, whatever you build, it runs proper, and then it goes to production. And then sign up if you have any questions. If you have any questions, you want to reach out development, you can create a task. These are all DevOps. Maybe you are using a JIRA or some other in your organization. Okay. So knowledge check. Okay, so let's go. What is Azure? So it's straightforward answer. The first one, if you see that, right, Microsoft's cloud computing platform, which provides compute power, storage, and service over the internet using a pay-as-you-go pricing model. Like I said, cloud computing, everything you're processing, accessing over the internet. And also cloud is pay-as-you-go model. So that is Azure. But the next one, let's look at the next one. A single data center located in Redmond, Washington. But Azure has data centers all over the world, of 56 regions. And there are other regions they're still building. Okay. So the first one is right. And then let's check the third, a hosting environment specifically for virtual machines. That's not right, because it offers a lot of services. We just passed through, right? Artificial intelligence, and then DevOps, database services, storage services, web services. So it's not only virtual machines. There are a lot. Okay. So the first one is right answer. I think if you guys answered it, I didn't check it. Let me see if I see anything in the chat. You can ping it if you guys know the answer. You are welcome to said in the chat. Okay, second one, which of the following is an example of Azure application platform? Yeah, just tell me, if you want to host a web application, which service do you guys use? Table storage, where you store unstructured data. Cache for Redis is just a cache service, and the data and the load balancer, what it does, it just distributes the traffic. App service, where you can host the web application. Okay, the first one, app service is the right answer. Okay, let me see if I see any pings. Yeah, someone pinged. Okay, let's see. Okay, let me. Okay, last one. When should you scale out your deployment? Yeah, just tell me when should you scale out your deployment? So I gave you guys options, scale up and scale out. Okay, when your application or service require more powerful CPU or more memory to run faster, or when you need additional virtual machines to speed up your application. Now, when you are using excess capacity that you don't need it. Okay, let's check, like, you know, if anyone answer. Okay, so here is the answer, number 2, because scale out means you are always adding. Scale up means, scaling means you are always removing. Okay, remember these guys, maybe you will face these questions in the interview. These are important. Okay, scale out means you are adding, scaling means you are removing. Okay, so if you guys have any questions, you can ping in the chat. Okay, I think we finished module 2. Okay, so let's go to module 3.